Welcome to the channel again, friends. As you can see, right now I'm going to focus on the identities, for that matter specifically grade 12 identity, which will have double angle identities. If you look at this question, it was 4 plus 2 marks, which is 6 marks. Very easy 6 marks. It says to us, show that the identity 1 minus sine 2a divided by sine a minus cos a is exactly the same as sine a minus cos a. That is what they want us to prove. Then 4.4.2 says, for which values of a in the interval a is greater than 0 and less than 180 will the identity be undefined for 2 marks. We should be able to do that. Now, let me give you tips on how to do this. For 4.4.1, the first thing is to know and accept that that identity is true for some values of the angle, which is a in this case. Why? Because we have a fraction. It means that for the values that will make the denominator 0, this identity won't be true, but for all those values that will not make the denominator 0, the identity is true. Now, number 2, choose the side that you can simplify the most. Simplify that side to the fullest. Compare the left-hand side and the right-hand side. If they are still not equal after having done everything correctly, then you must simplify the other side too. Now, let's look at my solution. The first thing that I said to you was, choose the side that you can simplify the most. In my case, the left-hand side was the side that I chose. Now, from there, I remembered that sine 2a is 2 sine a cos a. It is the double angle identity now. That means where I see this, I can substitute that. Moving on to the next step, I therefore substituted in place of sine 2a, I substituted 2 sine a cos a, which is exactly the same as that. Now, having done that, if I have 1 and I have 2 sine a cos a, I normally refer to these as cousins. Why? Because I know that 1 is exactly the same as sine squared a plus cos squared a. Now, if you look at what we are looking for, we want to have sine a and cos a. If you look at this, it is sine a times cos a. There's no minus sign between them. Now, how do we get the answer that they are looking for? The best option is replacing 1 by the cousin to that, and that is sine squared a plus cos squared a. Next step, I did exactly that. I substituted 1 by its identity, which is a square identity. There's sine squared A, there's cos squared 2A, cos squared A, sorry. But you see this one still there. Now from there, I can see that this can be factorized. I factorized it. Sine squared A minus 2 sine A cos A plus cos squared A has factors sine A minus cos A, sine A plus cos A. Now, if sine A minus cos A is not equals to 0, therefore, I divide. I am now left with sine A plus cos A. If you look at what the examiner required me to do, it is exactly what I have got here. I'm sorry about this now. It should be sine A minus cos A. That means there's somewhere where we made an error. Let's correct that error. This is supposed to be minus, and this is supposed to be minus. I'm sorry about that, folks, because we need to add them to get minus 2 sine A cos A. Now, if you look at this now, comparing it to that, they are exactly the same. That is why I would say the left-hand side is exactly the same as the right-hand side. We have answered that question. We've got the 4 marks in the bag. Secondly, for which values of A in the interval A is greater than 0 and less than 180 degrees will the identity be undefined? This identity, remember now, this is a fraction and the denominator is not supposed to be 0. Now, look at what I did there. I went to my identity, took the denominator, which is sine A minus cos A. I said it would be undefined if it is equals to 0. Then simplify this. I took cos A into this side, it becomes positive. Then I remembered that sine A divided by cos A is tangent A. That is why I'm going to divide both sides by cos A, because I'm looking for angle A. Now, I did exactly that. Cos A divided by cos A is 1. Then this side I get sine A divided by cos A. Remember, cos A is not supposed to be 0. Sine A divided by cos A is tan A, which is now equals to 1. I'm looking for the angle. I wrote down the general solution. If tan A is equals to 1, therefore, remember that if tan A is equals to 1, 1 is an element of real numbers. Therefore, angle A is equals to arc tan 1 plus K multiplied by 180 degrees, where K is an element of integers. Therefore, simplified. Tan arc tan 1 is 45 degrees. That means here I'm going to get 45 degrees plus K multiplied by 180, where k is an element of integers. But now I'm looking for the values of a, which will make this to be undefined. Talking about that identity now. And remember the restriction. A must be in the interval 0 degrees to 180 degrees. Now, in this case, I got A as equals to 45 degrees because 45 degrees is greater than 0 but smaller than 180 degrees. Remember again, in this case, I could have done this by inspection. Now, what do I mean by inspection? I know that sine A is a cofunction to cos A. Now, if A and A there, if A, I want to repeat this, and A there, add up to 90 degrees, then it means the two are equal. A cofunction is equals to its function provided the angles add up to 90 degrees. Now, if they are equal, it would mean sine A minus cos A is gonna give us 0. Now, it will give us 0 when this plus this add up to 90, and 45 degrees plus 45 degrees is equals to 90 degrees. And again, if you want to test as many solutions as possible, you can even go for 25 degrees and 65 degrees. You will see that these two will cancel. But now in this case, solving it mathematically, we could see that 45 degrees will make the identity to be undefined. Folks, if you practice your maths, that will make you proficient in mathematics. And again, it won't make you proficient only, but it will also give you procedural fluency. Procedural fluency is what I've demonstrated now, that I can see that these are cofunctions. If these two angles add up to 90 degrees, and of which in this case they are equal, if they add up to 90 degrees, then it means the denominator would be 0. That is procedural fluency. I know my work, and my work is helping me to even bypass all that up to there. Folks, thank you so much. I hope that you will understand this very well, and I'm still urging you to subscribe into the channel for more. Turn on your notification, tell your friends to tell their friends, and it should go on like that, to subscribe into the channel so that we can play around with this mathematics and make it fun. Thank you very much.